Hello and welcome to BBC London. Coming up this Wednesday evening. Feeling trapped when you live 26 stories up and the lifts keep breaking down? We hear from residents in an East London tower block.
Really terrifying, to be honest. There's so many disabled people in the building. There's so many people with chronic injuries, people with spinal injuries who've had to move out in this situation.
Also on the programme. Will there be more 20 miles per hour roads in the capital? TfL say they improve safety, but how slow is too slow? Plus.
I'm with the Tottenham fans who have travelled to Bilbao for one of the biggest nights in the club's recent history, in the hope of seeing their team lift a first trophy for 17 years.
And from the bars in Bilbao to the Bluecoats here in North London, for fans that couldn't get a ticket, thousands have descended upon this area, with many going to watch on big screens at the stadium just down the road, all hoping to witness a little piece of history.
What the hell just happened?
And I chat to trio Remember Monday about their Eurovision experience and their name. Good evening to you. First tonight, residents in a 26-storey tower block in East London have spoken of their misery because of unreliable lifts. People living in Balfron Tower in Tower Hamlets say they feel anxious and trapped sometimes because the lifts keep breaking down. Some residents say it is a serious safety concern for people living in the block who have disabilities or are elderly. Thomas McGill has the story.
Pee-pee time.
Walkies for Peeble has become a very different experience in recent weeks.
Here we go.
His owner Sophie lives on the 21st floor of Balfron Tower in Poplar and says he's unable to use the stairs after one of its two lifts broke over a month ago, and then big problems developed in the second lift a week ago.
I took people out for a walk and it broke and I came home and had to carry him up in my arms. That was a few days before. That seemed to get fixed and then it just completely broke, and that was it. It was done. And then it was like, but what if someone's pregnant? What if someone has children? What if someone has a heart attack or needs to be evacuated? And then that starts to run through your mind. And I've met 4 different people now who've been stuck in the lift.
Up on the 15th floor, Vasu is recovering from a hamstring injury and says being forced to use the stairs has significantly delayed her recovery.
I had pretty much recovered, and then because of the strain of having to climb up 15 stairs pretty much every day, it just got to a point where I think it got worse than it actually was. And that's when I decided I cannot go out anymore, because if I have to climb up 15 floors again, I'm probably going to do some permanent damage.
We were also hoping to speak to another resident living in the block with a disability, but they pulled out this afternoon, fearful about what might happen to them. The management company for Balfron Tower is Way of Life. They say it is incredibly unfortunate that this has occurred across both lifts at the same time, and for that we apologise.
Well, as you can see, one of the lifts is working today, but the residents we've spoken to have told us it's been temperamental and unreliable. Well, let's see, here it comes.
Lift go down.
With no guarantees about how long the lift will work for this time, concerns are now turning to what would happen in the event of an emergency.
Doors opening.
Really terrifying, to be honest. There's so many disabled people in the building. There's so many people with chronic injuries, people with spinal injuries who've had to move out in this situation, because I think they realize that the safety is such a huge concern to them that if anything were to happen, they have no option.
Thomas McGill, BBC London.
Well, in response, in the last half hour, the management company Way of Life have told us they are treating the matter with the highest urgency and priority and apologise to residents for the distress caused. Next, love them or loathe them. Could more 20 miles per hour streets be coming to the capital? Transport for London say they improve road safety, but others say it feels like a war on motorists. Our transport correspondent Tom Edwards joins us from Blackfriars Bridge. Hi Tom, tell us more.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about, 20 mile an hour speed limits. Here on Blackfriars Road, it's 20 mile an hour, and also about half of London's roads you also have to drive at that speed. Now what's happened today is we've got some new research from Transport for London. You should be able to see it on your screen now, and it summarises what impact that has had between 1989 and 2013. They say it's had a 40% reduction in deaths, a 35% reduction in collisions, and a 34% reduction in fatal or serious casualties. Now, the report admits it may have come down anyway, those statistics, but says overall 20 mile an hour speed limits do save lives. This is what City Hall had to say a little bit earlier.
Changing the speed limit is making a significant difference to people's safety, and for kids it's even more significant. 75% fewer kids killed on 20 mile an hour roads compared with no significant change on the control roads. What this shows undoubtedly that 20 miles an hour limits in London is saving lives.
Now, 20 mile an hour speed limits are not universally popular. The LTDA, the Black Cabs Association, don't like them, for example. And this is what people had to say a little bit earlier down here in Blackfriars.
Yeah, 25 should be a bit ideal, to be honest.
I think generally they're a good idea in the city centre. Like there's a lot of streets around like residential areas that probably benefit a lot from it. In the broader city, in the suburbs, there are probably areas where they're maybe a bit unnecessary.
I think if somewhere is needing that sort of speed reduction, the question is, should there be better pedestrian spaces?
Now, the wider picture is London is now almost certainly going to get more 20 mile an hour speed limits on its roads due to this data. Back to you, Riz.
OK, Tom, for now, many thanks. That's Tom Edwards there. This is BBC London. Good to have you with us. Still to come on the programme.
Hi, we're Remember Monday, and we're on BBC London chatting all things Eurovision and what's coming next for us.
Now, many of us will remember the fatal stabbing of Croydon schoolgirl Eliane Andam, and earlier this year her killer was sentenced to at least 23 years in jail. It once again highlighted the urgency in tackling knife crime in the capital. Today, campaigners, students and those who've lost loved ones came together at Croydon College to share their experiences. It comes on the day the government announced their latest proposal to halve knife crime in the next decade. Jim Weeble has more.
Every time you see me cry or I'm down, you've lifted me up.
A year ago, Tanya turned on her phone and saw a video that changed her life.
I found out about his passing on a TikTok video. I logged in and I saw a video. A 22-year-old man has been killed in Croydon. And yeah, my whole world fell apart.
Her partner had been stabbed to death. Tanya's response was to follow her boyfriend's advice before he died and go to college, change her career. And this term, she graduates.
It was a struggle at first, learning to deal with the grief and stay focused and, you know, do my assignments. But I've managed to persevere, and in 3 weeks' time, I'm going to graduate. I've done it. I feel so proud of myself.
It was one of many examples of how a community can rebound, how offering aspiration is a key to tackling youth violence.
Today we met with some young people that have really been marginalised, disadvantaged. However, on courses and on projects that are inspiring them to change and to be on a trajectory of success.
This morning, the government announced a major knife amnesty with 33 amnesty bins and an amnesty van collecting knives over the summer in London. Talisha Gopal, another who'd lost a loved one and spoke at the event, welcomed the amnesty, but questioned was it enough.
you're not going to get a lot of young people throwing knives in a bin when they're carrying it for their own protection. Logically, it doesn't fully make sense. I do feel like we need to have more bodies, such as community engagement officers on the streets, to make young people feel more safer, for them not to feel like a target, but for them to actually feel protected.
The government aim is to halve knife crime in a decade, working in partnership with grassroots organisations.
Young people talk about
But here at Croydon College today, something else happened. Another twist in Tanya's remarkable journey, in private, away from the cameras.
She met the father of one of the individuals convicted of that murder, and they shook hands today. Today, right here in this session.
What does that tell us?
It tells us that, one, the power of forgiveness, but it also shows that there's a joint commitment to doing whatever it takes to keep young people alive on the streets of London.
Jim Weeble, BBC London.
A quick look at some of the day's other news stories. The family of Martin Sadler, a firefighter from London who died tackling a blaze at the Bicester Motion Business Park, have paid tribute to him, saying firefighting was his life. His family said he was the true definition of a hero, saying our world has fallen apart and our hearts are completely broken. Two teenage boys have denied throwing a chair 50 feet from the top floor of Westfield's Stratford shopping centre, allegedly as part of an internet prank. The pair were arrested after a viral video showed an incident where a chair was thrown, narrowly missing shoppers walking below. The boys both pleaded not guilty in court to a charge of criminal damage recklessly endangering life. And a father whose wife and 5 children died in a house fire in Harlow 15 years ago says he's losing hope with the investigation into their deaths. Essex Police says it remains committed to giving him justice. Dr. Abdul Shakur talks of his frustration in a new BBC podcast series. Crime Next Door, Who Killed the Shakurs, is on BBC Sounds now. OK, as we've been hearing, thousands of Tottenham and Man U fans have descended on northern Spain. Planes, trains and automobiles, however they can get to tonight's Europa League final. Also watching will be Spurs fans back home here in London. More on that in a moment. First, our reporter Chris Legg, who did make it to Bilbao.
Well, for the fans who don't have a ticket to be at the San Mamés Stadium, the fan zone here is the place to be. It's reckoned there's going to be 15,000 watching the match on the big screens here. That's pretty much the same number that have been fortunate enough to get a ticket for the match. Spurs fans were just desperate to be a part of this occasion, part of a rare European final, only the second in 41 years, part of perhaps the end of a 17-year wait for a trophy. So even without a ticket, so many have travelled to Bilbao, and I've been hearing some of their stories this afternoon.
Spurs are on their way to Bilbao, the chant, and so determined to be in Bilbao, Lee and James were among the fans who came the whole way by coach.
We got the coach from Victoria yesterday morning, leaving at 8:30, and we arrived this morning at 7:30. Seats weren't very comfortable, but we had a lovely time on there. Everyone was cheering. Just want to come and see the team win. I think it's our year. Definitely our year. It's about time we won this.
For us to lift a trophy, and Ange always wins a trophy in his second year, so it will certainly make the coach journey back later on tonight, back to London, well worth the trip.
Victory would bring Champions League qualification, but even that may not save Ange Postecoglou his job after a disastrous Premier League season. Yesterday, he hit back at a newspaper journalist who labelled him a clown.
But I'll tell you one thing, irrespective of tomorrow, I'm not a clown. I never will be, mate. And you're really disappointed that you would use such terminology about a person who, for 26 years, without any favours from anyone, has worked his way to be in a position where he's leading out a club in a European major competition.
It seems most fans have lost the faith.
I think it's a done deal that he's gone. You know, it's just in the league. It's poor. It's not good. It's not the style of football we want.
Walk off on a high. Let him go on a high.
Do you like to see him stay?
Yeah, if he wins there, then yeah.
Should he have a third season if he delivers?
No comment. No comment.
Miller's up once more, trying to get on the end and dead.
It's 41 years since Spurs last lifted a European trophy, a member of that 1984 UEFA Cup team, Ozzy Ardiles.
It will be great. I mean, this is why we play football for, to win trophies, to enjoy, to celebrate, and so on. So sometimes you have a very good season, but you don't win anything, so you are not really, really happy. Today we have the chance to be over the moon, to be in heaven, so I hope we can do it.
For the fans here in their thousands, tonight is a moment to be treasured.
I'm going to be watching the game in row 6 behind the goal.
You got tickets?
Got tickets, got my ticket.
Privileged to be here, sun shining, got a ticket for the game, really looking forward to it.
I would cry my eyes out if we won, in happiness if we won this trophy tonight.
A feeling shared by many as Spurs seek silverware in Spain.
Spurs fans in great voice in the build-up to this match, and if the result goes their way, the party is going to go on deep into the night here in Bilbao, and I'm sure even to a greater degree back home in North London.
Chris Legg in Bilbao. So that's in Spain. But as he said, what about fans back here in the capital? Let's head to Tottenham and our reporter Matt Graveling, who's with some of them at the Blue Coats pub. Matt.
Well, Riz, from the bars in Bilbao to the Blue Coats here in North London, it looked like Chris had a bit of a party atmosphere where he was in Spain, but come on, soak this in. Thousands of Spurs fans couldn't travel, many had a variety of different reasons. I'm with two now who had a very good reason. This is Stefan and Ellie. Ellie, this is poor planning on your part, surely.
I know, appalling planning, but they wanted to induce me yesterday and we put it off, so we've got tonight, so at least we made it to today.
Okay, so basically just to say, Ellie's ready to have a baby, your first child at any point. Have you got any emergency protocols in place for this?
Basically, I've had a little word with the bump beforehand and just said just wait till Saturday, not because of tonight. There could be a parade on Friday as well, so we've got to hold on a few days. It has to hold on.
What does this mean for the team, Ellie? Because it's been such a long wait for silverware. I mean, how big could this be for Tottenham?
Well, in our lifetimes, it's probably the biggest thing. You know, Champions League final didn't quite go our way, so we're pinning everything on this, just hoping to have an amazing night.
And same question to you, but let's talk about the manager briefly, because there's been a lot of question marks over Big Ange. Regardless of the result tonight, does he stay or does he have to win?
I think he has to win to stay. It's been a poor season without this victory tonight, but if you win tonight, he has to stay. He absolutely has to stay. You can't win a Europa League trophy at Spurs and then get the tin tack. I think he's got to stay.
So I guess, Ellie, the big question is, does the baby's name depend on who scores tonight, or is it Big Ange? Or?
Well, we haven't told our families about the name yet, but Ange could be in a shot either way, boy or girl. We don't know what it is. So.
I think Heung-min Son. I think it's got to be.
Okay, rolls off the tongue. Right, I'm going to bring in Aslan now, who is the manager of this place. We talk about what it means for Tottenham, but if they win tonight, they get Champions League football. You could have fans from Real Madrid, PSG coming here. What does that mean for you and business?
Well, it'd be incredible, not just for the Blue Coats, but all the businesses in Tottenham. You can see for yourself how many people it is, what it means on a daily basis. So a night like a Tuesday and a Wednesday when not much happens, it will be a phenomenal boost.
Thank you very much. Well, there you go. It means more than just silverware here in Tottenham. A little bit of history could be made tonight. We'll find out in a couple of hours just which way it's going to go.
We absolutely will. Matt, thank you. And some people cutting it really fine there. To something completely different now. Learning to drive a train is no easy ride. You have to undergo a year of intensive study and rigorous safety tests. And from December, it'll now be a career open to 18 and 19-year-olds after the age limit is being lowered to help tackle driver shortages. Bhavani Vadi has been to a training centre in South London.
Being a train driver was always Liam's dream. He began as a platform assistant aged 18, but had to wait years to achieve his ambition. You had to be 20 to do this job. Now the age limit is being lowered.
Since I was young, I've always wanted to do this. My dad worked on a railway, his dad worked on a railway, and my brother did for a small time as well. So it's always been in the forefront of my mind. I'm glad that other people have that opportunity now to do the same that I could have done had this been allowed when I was 18.
With nearly a third of drivers set to retire in the next 4 years, the government says lowering the minimum age to 18 would plug skill shortages and unlock thousands of jobs.
Show me how to drive a train.
Okay.
At this training centre in Selhurst, recruits learn on state-of-the-art simulators.
I'm just
going down. Excellent.
The plan is that by the end of the year, one of the most skilled jobs on the railways should be open to school or college leavers.
The problem is we have 8 coaches on our train, so we've got some disappointed customers.
After just a brief go in this simulator, it's clear that driving a train is no easy ride. But before anyone gets near a real train, they have to undergo a year of intensive study and pass rigorous safety tests.
There's no prerequisite in terms of achievements or schools or colleges or qualifications, but what we do have is a really rigorous and professional safety culture.
Liam says although that training was tough, it was worth it.
Found it's a big family, and I really buy into that because there's always people willing to help you out.
So with more young people now able to follow in his footsteps, the wait Liam faced to become a train driver will soon be a thing of the past. Bhavani Vaddi, BBC London.
Now to the pop trio Remember Monday, and the first girl group to represent the UK in the Eurovision Song Contest since 1999. Holly, Charlotte and Lauren met while studying at college in Farnborough and have been performing together for 12 years. They finished 19th place in the grand final on Saturday, but their performance had energy, vocals and certainly looked like they were enjoying themselves.
What the hell just happened? What the hell just happened? Went up on the roof, jumped into the pool. You should do it too, 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 too. What the hell just happened?
Well, Holly, Charlotte and Lauren are with me now. Have you recovered?
No, we never will. Honestly, it's been the most whirlwind experience of our lives. We feel like we're still very much on cloud 9, 10.
11. How would you describe the experience?
Overwhelming. Yeah, lovely. Unbelievable. High pressured. The best thing you'll ever do.
Yeah. And given the result, do you feel the pressure?
We definitely did, but I also think, more than anything, by the end of it, we genuinely were just dreading it being over more than anything. It took up 7 months of our lives, and it was just, every day was a bucket list thing for us. We had honestly, it was the best thing we've ever done.
Toughest part?
Oh, sleep. Yeah, the lack of sleep. Yeah. But even then, like, by the end of it, we were literally zombies, so tired, but we're still laughing so much every day. Everything was so fun. We just loved it.
And then we would be like zombies, and then like 10 minutes before we would go on stage, we'd just get this adrenaline rush and be like, and it's so alive.
Yeah. You do have this energy that really comes through, and it's really infectious as well. So come on, tell me the name. Remember Monday.
Yes. So we met back at sixth form college quite a long time ago, and we always had free periods that fell on a Monday, and that just became our day, and it went into our adult life as well. So it was just an in-joke. Remember Monday, don't forget.
And what's been the reception when you got back to the UK?
Since we've been back, it's been all positive.
It's so lovely as well, because we're now kind of looking ahead, and it feels like people that have kind of found us from Eurovision are now like, what's next?
Yeah, they want to stick around.
We'll tell you, know.
So what is next?
Oh, yeah.
So we're going on tour. We're going on a big old tour in October and November, which is, it's so big for us. I mean, we did a little headline tour last year, and I think it's like 4 times the size this year. And we've got some new music coming out as well. So it's going to be fun.
Now, Holly, there was a bittersweet experience for you at Eurovision. The question everyone is asking, you know, you lost your engagement ring and your wedding ring.
Yes.
What's the latest?
So it's so weird. I found my wedding ring. I found my engagement ring, but my wedding ring has gone. Yeah. It's been lost. Someone's lost a ring, and it was me.
Someone lost a ring.
If anyone you see, anything is
anything.
And what's your message? You know, do you want to put it out there in case anyone can find it?
If you're in the Basel area, I think I left it on the bus. So yeah, if you're in Basel on a bus, just have a look under your seat. But don't worry, it's fine. I've accepted it. I misplaced it. I'm quite a clumsy person, so it's not a shock.
Well, listen, thank goodness you weren't clumsy on the night, because that performance, you had to have your wits about you.
Yes.
Lovely to have you with us here on BBC London. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having us.
A charming Remember Monday there. Well, some might be wondering what has happened to the sunshine. Ben is here, but we do need some rain, don't we?
Yes, remember rain, Riz? Yeah, we had some today, actually, a little bit of rain in places this morning. And then this afternoon, we did see some big storm clouds that erupted in some places. There were some heavy thundery downpours that sprung up, but not too many of them affected the London area itself. This is what happened after a cloudy and damp morning in places. By the afternoon, the sun came out. We saw those showers and storms, but mostly moving to the south of London. And actually, those showers, such as they are, will continue to fade as we go through the next couple of hours. So tonight, we're back to dry weather, some clear skies. It's going to be quite a chilly night out there, 7 degrees in the centre of London, but elsewhere down to around 4 or 5 degrees. So a bit of sunshine as we start tomorrow morning. However, we do have this little cold front pushing its way southwards, and that will introduce more cloud as we head on through tomorrow. So yes, some early sunshine, but quite quickly I think things will cloud over from the north. We may just see a few splashes of rain here and there. I think many of us will stay dry, but there may just be a few spots of rain and drizzle in the breeze. And then by the afternoon from the north, well, things should start to brighten up again. Temperatures, though, will struggle, particularly with all that cloud in the sky. 14 degrees, so not as warm or as humid as it was today. Now, this is Friday. We're back to sunny skies. We may just see 1 or 2 showers, but the vast majority will be dry. And it's going to be a slightly warmer day thanks to that extra sunshine, with temperatures up to 18, 19 or 20 degrees. Now, we've been talking all this week about the idea of some rain for the weekend, and there is some rain for the weekend. There is a bit of a change. On Saturday, things will cloud over. We will see some splashes of rain, some of it quite light, quite patchy, quite drizzly in nature. So not a complete washout, but yes, some rain in the picture. Still quite warm and quite humid at 18 or 19 degrees. That should sweep away. Sunday and Monday will bring more in the way of sunshine. Quite windy, 1 or 2 showers. So yes, there is some rain on the way, but it isn't going to be raining all the time. There's some sunshine in the outlook as well, Chris.
There you go, Ben. Thank you. And that is it. Thanks for being with us. More stories on our social media and website, including how life-sized animal puppets will be stampeding through London next month. And BBC Radio London has the build-up to Spurs' big night in Bilbao and live commentary from kick-off at 8. From me and all the team, do have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.